Start the recording. Rabbi Schuster, nothing just happened. Amar Rava. Very tired. Didn't have another coffee today. I became fleshik at the chasana. Ve'inoi niteres elo b'tzuras haPesach. Says Rava. Ve'inoi niteres elo b'tzuras haPesach. So we have the Rabbanan. The Rabbanan said 2 walls, shtayim, u'shlishas tefach. What does shlishas tefach mean? Says Rava, it means tzuras haPesach. What does that mean?
Half and a half.
Take your tzuras haPesach, split it in half. Now your tefach is half tefach, with a top piece. Eino niteres ela b'tzuras haPesach. Givaldik, pshat number 1. In this pshat, what is Rava coming to add on? Rava's coming to add on that a tzuras haPesach has a din of a mechitza. In all of Erevin, so what is a tzuras haPesach? It's a wall. Givaldik. Pshat number 1. Ikadi Amri, another way of learning Rava. Yeah?
But it goes on Rabbanon.
Yeah. Everything
But
is...
it's a chumah, but it's also a kula. The chumah is that you know
Correct.
but the
Correct.
kula is that it can be half and half.
Correct.
Also.
Let's speak that out. Very good. Is that he's going within the Rabbanan that you need a tefach. But how does the tefach work? Is that you split the tefach in half.
Tefach anyway, so now you're just making it like harder.
No, but it's not a kula in practicality, but in Lumdus it's a kula. In Lumdus it's a kula that you don't actually have a full tefach in one place.
Always have to disagree.
Yeah. Ikadi Amri.
Something right.
Oh my right. No, we have to see right. In Lumdus it is.
Tefach, you just make your life more
time is
complicated
short.
and splitting it in half. You're not
That's practical. But in the world, through the eyes of halacha, you now took your tefach and you split it. So you don't have one tefach in any place. It's a cool. Igadi Amri, Amar Rava, Niteres Nami B'tzuras haPesach. What do the words mean? Let's teach the words.
Now it goes on Simon.
Let's say before we go into Shitas, let's just teach the words. Niteres Nami B'tzuras haPesach means what? Either or. That's what it means. The first way, Amar Rava, Eino niteres ella. That word ella is important. Eino niteres ella tzuras haPesach. Meaning, said Rava in the first lashon, you need to have a tzuras haPesach. You can't have one tefach. You take your one tefach, you split it in half, and you have a tzuras haPesach. Ika di Amri is what? Amar Rava, niteres nami b'tzuras haPesach. Either way, either you could have a tefach, or you could split your tefach in half and have a tzuras haPesach. Before Rashi. I'm not looking at Rashi yet. Okay. Right now I'm reading a Gemara. I don't want because
I'm right.
well, we'll get there.
Right.
Ikadi Amri.
You don't need
Ikadi Amri.
But
But again, in the words. What's it with the words? But in Niteres Nami, the Nikuda that we're bringing out right now, either or. That's a Nikuda.
This is like, again.
Mamish Shakula. Either or.
According to Simon, you needed half of 7.
I agree with you.
You don't need.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but in words, in Niteres Nami, what do the words mean?
That also, yes.
Also, meaning either you could go the old-fashioned route of the Rabbanan and have one tefach, or Niteres Nami, it also works with a tzuras haPesach. That's pshat number 2. Pshat number 3, Ikadi Amri, Amar Rava.
It can't go on Rabbanon.
We're going to get there in a minute.
Because Nami means not only that, also that, right?
No.
According to
That's how Nami means.
According to Rabbanon, this is more of a chumah.
No, it's how Nami means.
More of a chumah.
Nami means either or. That's what Nami means.
Also.
No, because Amar Rava Utsricha Nami means also.
Right.
That's why you have to be careful. Amar Rava Niteres Nami, it also works, meaning either a tefach or a tzuras haPesach. Ikadi Amri Amar Rava Utsricha Nami. You need, in addition, a tzuras haPesach.
No.
So the third lashon.
What I'm saying is,
I know you're saying. What's that?
When Niteres Nami, the pshat is, you would have thought that this case is not going to be mutter. I'm telling you, it's also mutter here. Why would I thought it's not mutter? If according to Rabbanon,
I agree.
If according to Rabbanon, you're good with one tefach.
You don't have to convince me. You don't have to convince me. I'm just making. I want to make it simple in the words of the Gemara. I want to make it simple in the words of the Gemara. And then we're going to go into Rashi. The reason is because the words are complicated. We have 3 Lashainos that have one word of a nuance difference. So I want to make the words clear. Then we can go second level in the Shitas. Again, first opinion. Amar Rava, Einoi Niteres Ella. Only The only way to matter up your third wall, says Rava, opinion number 1, is with a Tzuras HaPesach, with a door frame. Ikadi Amri, opinion number 2, Amar Rava Niteres Nami, either a Tefach or a Tzuras HaPesach. Number 3, Ikadi Amri Amar Rava, Utzricha Nami. Not only do you need a Tefach, Nami, you also need a Tzuras HaPesach. That is the words of the Gemara, and that actually is beautiful. Before we go further and we learn it, before we go further in Rashi, does everyone understand the words of the Gemara? That's what's very important right now. Again, I want to say it again outside. I want to say it outside to make it very clear. Then we're going to go step 2 as we'll deal with Rashi. But step 1 is what are the words? Because we have 3 L'shainos. The words are very similar. Einu niteres elo, niteres nami, sricha nami. You get a headache for us Americans. The 3 words sound exactly the same. So what's going on? And this is where again, I preface, I'll say it again, it's important. I read this wrong last night, so I want to make this very clear. That first Shita is saying, Einoi niteres ella. We learned until now you need something? No. Says Rava, wipe away what we learned until now, and what do you need? A Tzuras HaPesach. Number 1. Exhibit A. Exhibit B. Ikadi Amri Amar Rava niteres nami. We learned that you need something until now. I'm being very vague on purpose. Niteres nami. Either use that, or use the Tzuras HaPesach. Either or. Number 3, Ikadi Amri Amar Rava, Utzricha Nami. In addition to A, in addition to what we thought you needed, you also need a Tzuras HaPesach.
3, you need a Tefach
Good.
and a Tzuras HaPesach.
Nachon.
Number 1, the
Just
first one could be even half.
Perfect.
It's so beautiful.
Perfect. Now we can read into Rashi. Good, but again, I have to think the next step is the machlekes rishonim, which is part of the reason why it's important just to know what the words of the Gemara mean. I think the next step is it gets involved in machlekes rishonim, but we will speak about Rashi's Shah, which we started with last night. But again, the 3 steps are: A is just a Tzuras HaPesach. B is either a tefach or a Tzuras HaPesach. C is a tefach and a Tzuras HaPesach. If that's clear, in reality, we could move on. Theoretically, calm down. Theoretically, is that clear? Rabbi Gabe, is that clear?
That's how I learned it all times.
Beautiful. You've been clear since yesterday at 8:12.
No, that's what I thought.
You thought we said it yesterday. You don't even know why I'm apologizing. No. Okay, Baruch Hashem. Gewaldik.
Which is not alright.
Gewaldik. Good. Now let's learn Rashi. Let's learn Rashi. We're gonna speak them out outside. The first Rashi says that Einan Niteres Ella means that we learned until now that you need to have a tefach. Says Rav on the first lashon, no, you don't need a tefach. You need a Tzuras HaPesach. Take your tefach, take your 2x4, take your tefach beam, slice it in half, put half on one side, put half on the other side, macha yeshivish a string between the two, make it a Tzuras HaPesach, givaldik. Beautiful. Number 1. Machmer Mekel. By the way,
No.
Machmer Mekel. No, I'll tell you why. Machmer Mekel never matters.
That's not a matter.
In
Who is he talking about? He's talking about Rabban.
Talking Rabban. Beautiful.
He's
Good.
talking about Rabban that said a tefach.
Number 2.
No, a tefach is not enough.
Rabbi
It
Schuster.
needs to be a Tzuras HaPesach,
We good?
But it can be a half and
Beautiful.
half.
Number
That's
2.
all. So that's all.
Niteres
That's all.
Nami
That's
b'Tzuras
all.
HaPesach. Number 2 says Rava. Number 2 says Rava is that number 2 says Rava is that either you could use a tefach, or you could use a Tzuras HaPesach. Says Rashi, let's look at it together because Rashi has a big chiddush over here from the first word. Niteres Nami b'Tzuras HaPesach. Everyone Rashi is about 14 lines from. The first Rashi is very clear. We could read it together. The first Rashi just speaks this. Let's look at the second Rashi, where it gets a little complicated. Niteres Nami b'Tzuras HaPesach. Mashma. It is mashma. The tefach sheshaninu, the tefach that we have been speaking about, hainu, says Rashi, kidebirush Rav Simon. Now, You have to appreciate what Rashi just did. Rashi just said a chiddush. Because when you read the Gemara, there's no reason in the world
To switch it to Rav
to
Simon.
go into Rav Simon. I just explained the whole Gemara, Galat Kasher without Simon. Now you Misvara, you have a reason
makes
why.
sense.
I'm not
It
saying
makes
that.
sense
Rashi said
Yeah,
it.
that's
The
you
Rebbe-
understand my-
of course. Rashi not to say that. I would say that.
No,
The Rebbe
why is
Rashi.
Rashi saying it?
Avada, you're right.
Because the words of the Gemara.
Avada.
Teres Nami doesn't make
Good.
sense with Rabbanon.
Good. Says the Gemara.
Otherwise,
Okay, so,
if you're
so you're not, so you're agreeing with me. So
Good.
what are you arguing?
Oh, that's right.
Ah,
Let's see Rashi. Rashi's going to explain. Rashi's
He's
going to
agreeing
explain.
with me. He's
Good. Agree to disagree. Rashi's going to explain. Mashma the Tevish Sheninu Hainu Kinabir Rav Simon. Well, what did Rav Simon say? Oh, he says Stimas Tefach Eitzel Ayoytze. That you take, what did Rav Simon say, a Tefach Soichek 1.1, put it at 2.9 on the wall, and it's considered 4. Asa Rav Meimar. Di'im asa tzuras ha-pesach al penei kol ha-doifen b'shnei kanin kol shehein. Rashi just do another chiddush.
Doesn't have to be a tef.
Oh.
Yeah.
Says Rashi, you don't even need to have a tefach split in half according to this pshat. Why? Because Rashi's learning within Rav Simon. What was the lumdus of Rav Simon? The lumdus of Rav Simon was a roiv of a wall, if you remember. We asked the kasha. Rav Simon says a tefach seichik, 1.1. And you put it within 3 of the wall, it's ke'ilu 4. We said, what the flip? What's 4? What are we doing over here? Zogt Rashi, because that's a roiv of your wall. Now comes along Rava and explains Rava. You know what's even better than roiv of a wall? A theoretical, figurative, entire wall. So either learn like Rav Simon and have roiv of a wall, or have the entire wall virtually via a tzuras ha-pesach. Vasa Rav lemeimar demasa tzuras ha-pesach b'nei kol ha-doifen b'shnei kanin kol shein with 2 little bits v'kan al gabeim koi le b'mokoim tefach that suffices in place of a tefach u'machshlik of a say de oy hai machsh. Givaldi. What's up? Before you get there, this would be the next Rashi. And then the third shot is Utricha Nami Tzuras HaPesach. Zok Rashi. Mashma Ditarvayu Binon. You need both. Tefach Eitzel HaYoytze. Ve and Kana Bezavish HaKenegdo V'Kana Shal Gabeim Kamin Tefach Zeh Lekana Zeh.
That could go on Rabbanon
Beautiful. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Why does it have to be a corner both?
So this
The
also
second
like,
one. Oh.
It's like the Gemara, when the Gemara comes and says, when Rava says, right, the first thing he says, it has to be dafka, right? Because we're saying till now we thought it has to be tefach, right? The Gemara says no, tefach isn't enough. We have to go on a much higher level of a kind of wall that is tzuras ha-pesach.
That's
So
the first
perhaps-
shot.
One second.
Good. Good.
So explain the second shot.
Good.
When you're saying, okay, 1 tefach is enough, you have to do tzuras
Your
ha-pesach.
assumption, where are you making that assumption?
This is exactly what Rava is saying. I'll show
No,
you.
the first shot is not that.
That is exactly the
Good.
No,
it's-
no.
Yes.
We don't. Why is that considered a wall?
Because
Rava's saying no, that's not considered a wall. It's You're wrong.
Correct.
Correct.
You need a
Wait a
tzuras
minute,
You need a
ha-pesach.
tzuras ha-pesach.
As in tzuras ha-pesach is what makes the difference, not the tefach.
Right.
Now
No,
we're
still a tefach, but it can be combined. But the
Yes.
tzuras ha-pesach is what
So-
makes it.
and
the
now,
wall.
so that's when you say dafka. So when you're saying dafka, that it has to be like that. So you're going the one who said the least, which is Rabbana. Rabbana said 1 tefach. Rav Simon said you need 7 tefachim. So the one who said the least, him you're going to force
4.
to make. You're going to force to make a tzuras ha-pesach. Now, if you come and say the second option, you can do either or. So if you're saying that your second option of making tzuras ha-pesach is a lot better than doing
is better.
this is what Rav is coming to
No,
say.
he isn't.
Yes, exactly.
isn't.
What do you want to say? What do you want to say? What do you want to say?
You're wrong.
What do you want to say?
I'm trying to understand what a third wall is.
Good.
It's either a tefach, and according to Rava, no, what is tefach? It's al yedei this tzuras ha-pesach.
That's the first shot.
You're
Good. What's the second shot now? What's the Ikadi Amri? What's saying? Let's follow what you're saying.
There's 2 ways to make a second wall.
Good.
Either it's through a tefach,
Good.
or it's tzuras ha-pesach.
See, that's shot number 1.
It's two
What's saying?
separate
That's
ways.
shot number 1. That's Amar Rava. Good. Now what's Ikadi Amri says the
That's
Gemara?
That's the Ikad Amri.
No.
So you're saying not like Rashi.
So what is Rashi trying to say?
Good. So now, slow. There are Rishayim.
He's trying to explain.
What's
what
saying?
I said,
I understand.
Why we need to do Rav Simon, and he's
We don't
disagreeing with
understand
it.
the lumdus. We don't understand.
So Rashi is learning. Rashi is learning what Rava is doing is giving more of a
I
wall.
agree with that. I was just saying
More of a wall.
We have to understand what we were talking about to begin with.
Oh, so where did Rashi come from? L'chayra Chaver, where did Rashi come from? Rashi came from that what a tzuras ha-pesach is in halacha is a wall. Rava didn't arbitrarily decide that till now you had a tefach, now just put a tzuras pesach instead. Why would that do? Rava just came out with a halachic chap to take your tefach and split it in half. That's not what Rava did. The Rashi's understanding what Rava did is a tefach is a little bit of a wall, and a tzuras pesach is more of a wall. So if you hold the tefach works, you hold the tzuras pesach works. That's pshat. That's what Rashi's learning. If that's the way to learn, then what's the second shot? What's niteres nami? What's niteres nami? Either or. That's what Rashi's learning. It has to go in Rav Simon. Because in the Chachamim, there's no nami. It doesn't really make any sense. What's the nami? Either this,
tefach is good, for sure. Tzuras pesach is more of a wall. But according to Rav Simon, who said that you need half of the wall,
you should know.
No, this is also.
It bothers me also. I think Taisus weighs in on this.
It's even for Rav Simon, which is more
Exactly. Yes. The choira, yes.
That's a twisted way to learn.
Because according to Rav Simon, you need that half of the wall. So he's saying no, you don't need to have a wall. As long as it's a tzuras pesach, that's enough.
I understand what you're saying, but just reading the Gemara.
No.
Rashi takes it out of
Rashi's saying a chiddush here. I agree with you.
But he's forced to say it.
I'm not sure.
I'm
not sure.
These levels of walls
because tzuras pesach is an acceptable concept.
No,
in
so there's a
Erev.
problem. There's a problem. Let me explain to you what the problem is, which is really what Taisus says over here. This will open up a little bit. Taisus says, one second. The first shot was take the tefach, split it in half, right? Ask Taisvis. You don't know the first thing about Erevin. There's nowhere in all of Erevin that a tzuras pesach is hafoch. That a tzuras pesach has a shear.
He's asking on Rashi specifically.
Yes. He says this is pshat, but he says a tzuras pesach doesn't have a shear. The concept, which by the way, we're about to get even heavier in Erevin tomorrow, Vayter in the Gemara. So it's a good thing to talk about. That's what Taisus Kash is. That a tzuras pesach by its definition just stick and stick.
That's by the third point one, by the way, he says that. By the third itgedamur.
So Taisus asks him Rashi, what's going on in the first shot? Good. Let's go. Where are we holding? E23. Let's go one davaiter.
The answer to that is that Rava is just saying Chachomim said you need a tefach. It's enough if it's a tefach combined.
Lay there.
But it's a chiddush.
Rav Ashi Ashchil Rav Kahana. One more line, Chaver. Rav Ashi found Rav Kahana to go ovid tefach soichik. He made a tefach soichik and the Kavit tzuras pesach. Amar lei loisavel amar lahad Rava. Do you not hold of Rava? Dama Rava viniteres. Nami b'tzuras pesach. Amar lei nakedach lishta the Rava svirli. I hold of the other lashon. Dama Rava tzricha nami tzuras pesach. What's I was saying? We have 30 seconds. I just want to open up what the next Gemara is going to be talking about. We're not going to understand it at all. But Shtayim Kil Chasan Amar Rava v'chein l'Shabbos. Migud have a doifel Kinyan Succah, have a doifel Kinyan Shabbos. Tomorrow we have to now really understand what exactly a wall is, what a tzuras pesach is, what a lechi is.
So we learned the Gemara. Is it heker or is it?
That's how everything is going to come.